Hey everyone, welcome to my kitchen. For those of you new to Top Dog Tips, normally when I bring you to my kitchen, I am sharing recipes for homemade dog food or homemade dog treats. But today I actually want to talk to you about how to make homemade dog treats. It's something that I get a lot of questions about. People want to know how I got started and how they can get started, and the benefits and drawbacks to making your own homemade dog treats. So I wanted to discuss that with you guys today to clear that up a little bit, because like I said, I do get a lot of questions about that. So just to give you a little bit of background, I started making my own dog food and treats years ago. I started making my own treats first. It seemed, one, like it was the easier jump for me, and two, if you remember back a few years ago, there were a lot of recalls, and there was a lot of talk about products coming from countries like China that weren't safe for our dogs, jerky treats, certain types of treats being unsafe for our dogs, and it really got me thinking, how hard can it be to make your own dog treats? And then I know for sure that the ingredients are safe, the processing is safe. I know that I'm feeding my dog a quality treat that's going to be safe for him. I read a few different news stories. Like I said, this was many years ago, but I read a few different news stories about canine deaths being linked to the treats that these dogs were eating, and I just thought, what a terrible tragedy to suffer as a pet owner, that you think that you're giving your dog a treat, a snack, something to make him happy, and maybe you're training him or playing a game with him, and he's eating these treats, and you think that this is such a great thing, and it ends up being something that kills your pet, and how devastated that would be. So I said, you know what, I'm going to try this, and I'm going to try and make my own, and I really didn't know anybody that was doing it, so I had a conversation with our vet about it, and she kind of steered me in the right direction, and I feel like even now, I still feel like it's a little bit of an easier jump to start making your own treats first, and kind of get into that and learn a little bit more about it and about canine nutrition, and then sort of make the step up to making your own homemade dog food. But certainly you can do it the other way around, or you can do both at the same time. If you want to just get your dog on a completely homemade diet, that's something that you certainly can do. Before you make any type of homemade dog food or homemade dog treats, I cannot stress enough how important it is to speak with your veterinarian or with a canine nutritionist. You want to talk to somebody that's trained on canine nutrition, because you want to be feeding your dog what he needs. You don't want to give him a lot of added junk that his body doesn't need, and you don't want to be giving him, missing out on any of the things that he might need. A lot of times vets see dogs come into their office that they're having some kind of a health problem, and it's linked to a nutritional deficiency. So it's something that you definitely want to speak with a professional about. Homemade dog treats or dog treats in general, should be a very small part of your dog's diet, so it's not as concerning as far as, that it's not going to be what's giving him his bulk of his nutritional needs. But it's still definitely something that you should be making that should be safe and healthy for your pet. And so of course the first thing to talk about is ingredients. You want to make sure that you're using ingredients that are safe and healthy for your dog. If you're unsure about an ingredient's safety, a lot of times that comes with fruits and vegetables, any types of plants, because some plants can be toxic to dogs. So if you're not sure that a fruit or a vegetable is safe for your dog, do a little bit of research, reach out to your vet, and just make sure that you find out for sure that that's acceptable for your dog. But there are other things too. For example, most of us know that chocolate is not, is toxic to dogs, so we don't feed our dogs chocolate. You don't want to make treats with cocoa powder or anything like that, but there is an ingredient called carob powder, and that acts as like a cocoa powder substitute that you can use that's healthy and safe for dogs. So there are lots of different ingredients out there. Of course, if you want to just start dipping your toes in, you might look for the ingredients that are made with more traditional, the treats that are made with more traditional ingredients. But there's going to be a base of some kind, and that could be soy flour, rice flour. There are treats that are made with many different, like soy flour, and that really, I mean, it depends on your dog's nutritional needs, of course. If he has, like, for example, it needs to be wheat and gluten-free, you don't want to go ahead and use like an all-purpose flour in his treats. So it definitely depends on your dog's needs, but that can also be, you know, the healthiness of the dog treat that you want to, because there are different benefits that your dog's going to get from, say, like a chickpea flour, or you know, people use like ground flaxseed carob powder, like I just mentioned. It is a chocolate substitute. It adds a flavor and a sweetness to the treats, but there are some great benefits to carob powder as well that you can get from adding that to your treats. So you're gonna first stick with a base, and a lot of times that's going to be like rice flour or soy flour, some type of flour. Whole wheat flour is a big one that is used a lot. So you're going to stick with that, and then you're going to add the other ingredients. And you know, my advice is, again, you know, substitutions are really easy to do with dog food. If, for example, your dog needs to be wheat and gluten free, so you don't want to use you know, wheat flour, you want to use a different type of flour, that can be, you can certainly do that using like rice flour or something. So substitutions can be made there. If your recipe calls for certain vegetables or certain fruits, substitutions can be made there. That has to do with your dog's preference on taste. It also has to do with the consistency of the treats. If you substitute, like say for example, you're going to use blueberries, or you can use, you know, you want to substitute for bananas. Well, bananas are going to add more moisture to your dog treats, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It may change the consistency a little bit. And it's also obviously going to change the flavor. Some dogs love peanut butter flavor. Some dogs love the flavor of, like, I just made carob crunchies, they're called, with that carob powder, and one of our dogs loves the carob treats, one of them doesn't care for them. So, you know, you want to just find flavors, and that may take some trial and error, but you want to find flavors that your dog's going to enjoy. So you want to find a base, you want to find flavors, and then you know, you can bring in those substitutions too to change that. Substitutions can also help budget-wise. If, for example, you know, blueberries are out of season and bananas are a lot cheaper, substitute. You can substitute vegetables if certain things, like you, for example, if you have a garden in the summertime and you grow certain things in your garden, so you grow green beans and you have tons of green beans and you want to substitute those in some treats, go for it. Just make sure that the substitution that you're using is going to be safe and healthy for your dog. There are plants, there are fruits and vegetables that are toxic to dogs, so you want to stay away from those, and use the ones that aren't. This year we grow a garden, and we have had a bumper crop of squash. I have summer squash and winter squash and zucchini just coming out my ears, so I've used that, I've incorporated that in the dog food and the dog treats that I make. I've used a lot of squash right now to try and use some of that up. Dog treats, the other thing that you want to consider when you're learning how to make dog treats is the storage. Dog treats that you buy commercially 90% of the time have preservatives in them, and so they have that shelf life of months and months and months, and that's great. It's certainly beneficial, but those preservatives, those artificial preservatives and ingredients are not healthy for your dog. So you're getting away from those with homemade dog treats, which is great, but the shelf life significantly shrinks on your treats. A lot of times the recipe will tell you to refrigerate the dog treats, and that will help keep them longer, but normally the treats are only going to last for a couple of weeks at most. So you want to have an airtight way to store those, and some refrigerator space probably, but you also maybe want to have a little bit of freezer space. You can make a large batch of dog treats, cook just a portion, enough to get you through a couple of weeks, and refrigerate those. And then you can also, let's just say, for example, that you're making a biscuit or a cookie kind of treat. So you cut out all your cookies, you bake some, and you refrigerate those, and that's going to get you through the next 2 weeks. The rest of the dough you're going to cut out, place on a cookie sheet, place them flat on a cookie sheet, and freeze them that way on the cookie sheet. And then I usually put some parchment paper down so they're easier to peel off, but you freeze them. When they're frozen, you can stick them in a bag, in a like a Ziploc bag or in any kind of an airtight container, and you can freeze those for months. And then when you need, if you freeze them in like 2-week quantities, you can take out 2 weeks worth, bake them, and have 2 weeks worth of dog food. Dog treats, and you still have some in the freezer for next time. So every week or two, you're not having to go through and make more dog treats. So, storage is definitely an issue as far as the preservatives are concerned. But if you have a little bit of room in your freezer and your refrigerator, you should be able to make plenty of dog food to get you through at least a couple of months. Dog treats. I keep saying dog food. You should be able to have the space to make enough to get you through a couple of months, and you won't have to worry about them going bad because you don't have preservatives in them. So making your own dog treats, it's really, it's a great benefit as far as the health of your dog. You don't have to worry about where the treats are coming from, the ingredients, are they healthy, are they not healthy, how the ingredients are processed, how they're packaged, how they're stored, any kind of like artificial ingredients or preservatives that are in there. You don't have to worry about any of that with homemade dog treats. The drawbacks to making your own homemade dog treats are, those preservatives, they don't last as long. Some people say that they're more expensive to make. I don't necessarily agree with that. In the beginning, they will be a lot more expensive to make because for example, you may not have white rice flour, brown rice flour, soy flour in your pantry. You might not have carrot powder in your pantry, so you're buying that stuff, but you're buying a container of carrot powder like this and you're using a half a cup at a time. So, or you're, buying a bag of flour for $6, but it's gonna make dog treats for you for the next 6 months or a year. So it is an expensive thing at first, but when you factor out how many dog treats you're getting out of the ingredients you're buying, it really averages out. If you're buying the cheaper treats, the cheaper commercial treats, certainly it's going to be more expensive than those. But if you're buying those higher end commercial treats that have the limited ingredients, that have no artificial ingredients, no fillers, things like that, then it's not any more expensive to purchase those treats commercially as it is to purchase the ingredients to make homemade dog treats. So financially, I think for the product that you're getting, you have to compare quality, not just the price, because you can certainly find treats on the market that are cheaper, but they're much lower quality. So if you compare a treat that's of similar quality, then I think it's actually a little bit cheaper to make it homemade. And then you're 100% certain where those ingredients come from, how the treats are processed, and that kind of stuff. So I like that. It's a peace of mind too, that you're giving your dog something that's really healthy for him and safe for him. I also like the fact that you can cater the treats to meet your needs. And what I mean by this is, one, like I mentioned with the ingredients, you can make them as safe and as healthy as possible. With the flavors, you can cater those to me. Sorry, one of our dogs is barking outside and that was a little distracting. You can cater the flavors. If your dog loves peanut butter, or like I said, we found that one of our dogs really loves that carrot flavor. So you can cater the flavors, and you can also cater the size to your dogs or what you're doing with them. If you're training a puppy or you're training your dog and you want small treats, you can cut them smaller. If you have, we have 2 large breeds and a small breed. So if you've watched any of my dog treat videos, you'll notice that I cut some treats larger for our large breeds and some treats smaller for our small breed. So you can cater to those needs as well. So I find it very beneficial. I love making my own homemade dog treats. I would be happy to answer any questions for you. If you have questions about how to make homemade dog treats, please reach out to me. My email address is samantha@topdogtips.com, and I would gladly answer any questions that you have or share any recipes, things like that. If there's anything that you're looking for in particular, a certain type of recipe, or you have any specific how-to questions, certainly suggest those, and I'll try and make a video of those as well, and share those on the site, because chances are if you're having those questions, there are other viewers and readers out there that are having the same questions. So be sure to reach out. You can find us on social media. We're on Facebook and Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram. Of course, you can find us on our website, which is topdogtips.com. You can email me. There are lots of ways to reach out to us, and any way that you do it, it'll all get back to me, and I will be happy to answer those questions for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make homemade dog treats, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel or give us a like on Facebook, and you'll get updates on all the how-to videos that I post, as well as the product reviews and the recipes that I share. So if you want to be up to date on all of those, all you have to do is subscribe, and I will see you guys back next time with another beneficial how-to video. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.